LEGO Ninjago Legacy is a great sub-theme for Ninjago. It's a way for new fans to experience old builds and for old fans to experience them in a new way. Some of the sets are better than the original and some sets are worse. And in this video I'm going to take a look at every LEGO Ninjago Legacy set and separate them into 4 different categories. Better than the original, worse than the original, both are just as good, and standalone, which just means that it doesn't really have an original set that it's based on. I'm not going to include polybags or the accessory pack because those aren't really comparable to anything, and I'm not including 4+ sets because those aren't meant to be great remakes. So let's start with the 2019 sets. The first set is the Monastery Training Set, and there were a lot of small sets like this back then, but nothing close enough to this for me to compare it to anything. So it's going in the standalone category. The second set is the Samurai Mech, which is a remake of the Samurai Mech from 2012. This one's tricky because I prefer the new one because I like smaller mechs in general, and I think this is a really good small mech. But a lot of people probably prefer the bigger mech. So I think both work for different people, are good for different reasons, and are different enough, so I'm gonna say they are both as good. The third set is the Golden Dragon, which is a remake of the Golden Dragon from 2013. And this is hard because both are pretty similar. The Legacy version is smaller, but does some things better, like the head and the flag. I like both, but I think overall the original is better, so the new one goes in the worst category. The next set is Kai's Blade Cycle and Zane's Snowmobile, which isn't a remake of one specific set, but a remake of Kai's Blade Cycle and the small Zane Snowmobile side build from the Fangpire Truck Ambush set, both from 2012. First, Kai's Blade Cycle. The Legacy one is sleeker and less bulky, and also has more black in the color scheme. Now Zane's Snowmobile is bigger and more detailed than the original. I think both builds are a little better than their original versions, but I don't love any of the builds to be honest, but I'm gonna put this in the better category. The next set is Jay's Stormfighter, which is a remake of Jay's Stormfighter from 2012. The design of the Legacy version is much nicer. I especially like how the engines in the back look, but there are also more details and the opening wing feature is better. The original isn't bad, but the new one is a major improvement, so it goes in the better category. The next set is Cole's Earth Driller, which is a remake of Cole's Earth Driller from 2013, and there is no question to which one is better. The Legacy one has a much sleeker design. I like the piece for the cockpit better. The original looks incomplete and in my opinion kind of looks bad, especially compared to this new one, which is one of my favorite Ninjago sets. The new one just does everything better than the original, so it has to go in the better category. The next set is the Ultra Dragon, which is a remake of the Epic Dragon Battle set from 2012, and to be honest I don't love either of these builds. It's a great idea, a dragon with 4 heads sounds cool, but I think the execution in both of these sets looks kinda messy. I think the overall design of the new one is better, especially with the body, so it's going in the better category. The 8th and last set for 2019 is the Monastery of Spinjitsu, which I guess is a remake of Spinjitsu Dojo from 2011. It isn't an exact remake, but I think it's close enough. The new one is a more detailed build and has a lot more to it, so it goes in the better category. Now onto the 2020 sets. The first set is the Jungle Raider, which is a remake of the Jungle Raider from 2015, and the Legacy version is actually smaller than the original. They both have suspension play features for the back, and I think both do it well. I think the new one is a nice downsized version, but I like the details on the original better, and it's just better in overall design, so this goes in the worst category. The second set is the Golden Mech, which is a remake of the mech from the Temple of Light set from 2013. The new one is bigger and more detailed, but the old one has a lot more gold on it. So even though the new one is really good, I like the old one a little better. I like that it's smaller, and even though it's less detailed, the gold looks better on it, and the design is still good. So this goes in the worst category. The third set is the Kai Fighter, which is a remake of the Kai Fighter from 2014. The Legacy version is okay. It is more detailed, but I think they kind of overdid it with the design. The engines on the sides look too big, and the wing play feature is much better on the old one. So the new one looks cool, but I think the old one is simpler and does a lot of things better. So this goes in the worst category. The next set is the Thunder Raider, which is a remake of the Thunder Raider from 2014. There are 2 builds in both sets, Cole's Mech and Jay's Thunder Raider, and I think the Legacy version does both better, especially the Thunder Raider. I think the mech looks pretty good in both versions, except the new one is filled out a bit more and bigger. The actual Thunder Raider is also bigger and has more details which look better. They both have the play feature where the mech attaches to the back, and again I think it looks better on the Legacy version, so it definitely goes in the better category. The 5th and last set for 2020 is the Destiny's Bounty, and there have been a few Destiny's Bounty sets, but I'm only comparing this to the original from 2012. I think the original was a little small and incomplete in some areas. The new one does a lot of things better, like the dragon head, and feels more complete. It isn't the best Destiny's Bounty, but it's better than the original. Now onto the 2021 sets. The first sets are the epic battle sets, and there are some elements similar to older sets, but nothing specific, so these go in the standalone category. The second set is the Tournament of Elements, and the closest thing this could be a remake of is Dojo Showdown from 2015. The Legacy version has a curve to it, whereas the original is more flat. The original has more play features, and the new one has better details. I think the Legacy version is better, but they both have good parts to them. The third set is the Overlord Dragon, and this isn't a remake of anything, but it's based off the Overlord Dragon form from Season 2. It should have been a set already, but I'm glad it exists now. This is a great set that goes in the standalone category. The next set is the Boulder Blaster, a remake of the Boulder Blaster from 2015. The new one is more detailed and more bulky, which I'm not sure I like. I like the use of more sand green parts on the new one, but I like the overall design of the old one more. This is one of my favorite Ninjago vehicles, and Legacy made a good remake of it, but I like the original more, so this goes in the worst category. The next set is the Fire Dragon Attack, a remake of the Fire Dragon from the Fire Temple in 2011. The Legacy version is way better, with the updated design, the better wings, and it just looks way more menacing, so it goes in the better category. The next set is the X1 Ninja Charger, a remake of the X1 Ninja Charger from 2014, and the Legacy version is one of my least favorite Ninjago sets of all time. The original was way better. The new one's too flat and kind of ugly. It fails in making a better version of the vehicle, and even without the original to compare it to, it still looks bad. So this definitely goes in the worst category. The next set is the Ultrasonic Raider, a remake of the Ultrasonic Raider from 2012. This is another Legacy set I don't like that much. There was also a version for Day of the Departed, and that even looked better than this. It looks too short and stubby, and the separate sections don't look good on their own. So this also goes in the worst category. The next set is Zane's Titan Mech Battle, a remake of the Titan Mech Battle from 2015. I'm gonna be honest, I don't love either, but I'm just not a fan of mechs, and I can't deny that the new one is better overall. The ninth and final set is the Ninjago City Gardens, which isn't a remake of anything, but it's a beautiful and well-detailed set. It goes in the standalone category. So that was all of the Ninjago Legacy sets compared to their originals, put into separate categories. I think Legacy sets overall do better than the original versions, but sometimes I think they fail, and other times they make great standalone sets. Let's hope they make great new versions of other sets in the future. But anyway, that's all I have to say. See you next time. Goodbye.